Hain shows up before Shinpei as a crow and states he should have recently gotten back from a circle, however as she can't feel Ushio presence, she should at long last be dead. Hain then duplicates the little kid Akari and lets Shinpei know that while he just returned from the circle, he should be on the edge of the circle, and since he is resistant, she never again can bring him with her to her back home. Shinpei acknowledges she have been keeping an eye on with while she is a crow. Hain then, at that point, brings a few wanderer shadows. Shinpei acknowledges she can acquire replicated information as well, however that would mean she didn't eat every one individuals at the hallowed place. Hain states it was his issue as she needed to utilize all her recaptured power just to pursue him. As she gets ready to assault, Shinpei places his hand in the pocket and snatches unwittingly something. Seeing that, Hain stops the shadow and withdraws. Shinpei asks why she left and takes out his hand to see he is holding Ushio's shell neckband. Shinpei calls Hizuru and illuminates her that Ushio is dead and they need to refocus at the northeastern island of Torajima, which must be gotten to during low tide. Notwithstanding, a shadow Shinpei with Masahito called Hizuru as Shinpei's association is unsound. Masahito ponders when Hain duplicated Shinpei. She advises him to consider it as this isn't essential for Ushio's recollections and it's an opening in their pseudo-circles. Hain tells Masahito she has work for him as Shurta. Shinpei gets back to Kofune's cafe. However, Alan lets him know that So and Mio went to meet with him 30 minutes prior. He leaves the children and acknowledges there is a sad remnant of him and miracles when they got it. He reviews the times he got duplicated, however since the circles restarted, he accepts they were deleted. Notwithstanding, he then, at that point, understands that Shirori is Hain and during the early circles, while he was passing on Mio told Tetsu she can't duplicate him, since their mom replicated him as of now. Shinpei then, at that point, considers how they settled on the decision as except if his telephone is annihilated, the replicated telephone shouldn't work. Shinpei hears a voice and really takes a look at his space to see Shadow Mio stuck to the ground. Shadow Mio shares her memory and Shinpei see that Mio stuck her. Since she dreaded her hacking might be scattered since Ushio passed on. Shinpei makes sense of about his shadow and understands that his shadow duplicated his telephone during the celebration and Shirori assimilated that data toward the end. Shinpei gets a call from Hizuru's telephone. However, it's Hain changed as him. She lets him know that they are at Torajima, while Mio is at Alan's nursery and it's his decision who he needs to save. Shinpei begins to consider what to do and chooses first to accumulate all he can use as weapons. Around 10 minutes sooner, Mio and So go to Alan's nursery and they see Masahito there. Masahito then changes into Shurta. Simultaneously, Hizuru's gathering is checking Torajima out. Jinjiro contemplates whether Shinpei is actually the one that called them. Yet Hizuru makes sense of that Ryanosuke can't recognize human from shadow via telephone, however the call begins from Shinpei's gadget. With Ushio dead, there is the likelihood that Shinpei is dead as well and it's presently a world seen by Hain. Nonetheless, they actually need to kill her. Takiko can't contact Mio, yet Alan said she and So went to get together with Shinpei. Hizuru chooses to go alone on the island and inquires as to whether he can cover her with his rifle and he states provided that she is in the southern part. Hizuru then, at that point, meets Takiko to send her shadows and advises Tetsu to give a valiant effort to make do. Ryanosuke then goes to Torajima and sees Shinpei, however feels Hain's presence. Ryanosuke uncovers that he knows it's Hain and Hain states she vowed to kill her quite a while back. Masahito shows up behind her, yet Ryanosuke figures out how to avoid the lance. Ryanosuke figures he should be Shurta and he killed Ushio with assault from behind, since he is human. Hain uncovers she replicated Ryanosuke a long time back, yet couldn't bear that she ate her companion's sibling. So she removed piece of her, alongside Ryanosuke's information. Notwithstanding, there was a little occurrence and directions in time moved and Ryanosuke is controlling Hizuru's body from 2 seconds from now on. Masahito states that Hizuru drawing near to Hain ultimately inflicted damage and her disease advanced, and she presently has months left to live. Masahito makes sense of that. Hain's eyes see his shift and transfers data to Masahito, which makes Ryanosuke's 2-second good for nothing. He then shows a torpedo, expressing its mud. A wad of previous shadows. The mud responds to his will and changes its structure, transforming him into Shurta. Ryanosuke noticed that Hizuru would call it a protective layer of carcasses. Shurta then, at that point, assaults Ryanosuke, who reviews its everything Hizuru said to him. Shurta will allow him to avoid and will then plan to kill him as he lands. Knowing that and that Hain would transfer his shift, Ryanosuke states he should be quick and blocks Shurta's firearm with the sledge and afterward bounces at him and hits him in the head. He then rapidly crushes Shurta's head once more, before he can fall on the ground. Nonetheless, Shurta transforms into bits of mud and moves to one more area and changes as Shurta. He noticed that Ryanosuke has an astounding maneuvers, however his human body can't keep up perpetually. And his injuries had opened up. Ryanosuke realizes he is using up all available time as Hizuru's body won't endure significantly longer. He trusts he can get into Genjiro's sight and utilize that second to escape. Hizuru then, at that point, dominates and states they aren't taking off. Ryanosuke gets energized that he and Hizuru are alert simultaneously and can converse with her, yet she advises him to quiet down. Hizuru states they can win, and with Shinpei's status obscure, they are compelled to battle or they will kick the bucket tomorrow. She lets him know that he doesn't have to obliterate the covering, as the one inside is only a human. She tells Ryanosuke her arrangement and passes on her body to him, and he is allowed to break her body and take full advantage of her.